I refuse to be the crown princess in this second life. The emperor asked me for a reason. I pointed at the autistic prince. He slept with me and must take responsibility. Xie Wei Chen stammered in defense. I didn't. Without changing my expression, I shyly said, he said every day, hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now, the story begins. 3 days ago, an assassin attempted murder. I saved the emperor, in the Golden Yuan Hall. Rewards were being discussed for meritorious service. The emperor kindly asked me, would you like to become the crown princess? I shook my head firmly, no. As soon as the words left my mouth, Crown Prince Xie Yun crushed the teacup in his hand. He scolded me in a deep voice, Jinhuan, don't act like a child. The emperor glanced at Xie Yun and asked me softly, why? I know you two grew up together and share a deep bond. I pointed at the autistic prince in the corner. He slept with me. So he has to take responsibility. Xie Wei Chen suddenly looked up, stammering in denial. No, I said without changing my expression. He said every day, thud. Xie Wei Chen fainted. I calmly explained. Too overjoyed, Xie Yun gritted his teeth and grabbed me. Your Majesty, please calm your anger. Jinhuan only said this because she was upset with me. I apologize on her behalf. The emperor seemed lost in thought. Wei Chen hasn't spoken a word in over a decade. His eyes shifted as he looked at me with a smile. After you're married, you two must get along well, raising the tray to the eyebrows, and the lute and zither harmonize in unison. Xie Yun's face turned pale. Father Emperor, your son. The emperor spoke coldly. Well, after a long while, Xie Yun released me. The banquet was still going on. I slipped away quietly. I found an open space. I took off running at full speed. The wind whistled past my ears. The taste of freedom, in my previous life. I chose Crown Prince Xie Yun. He promised that in this life, he would love only me, but later, he took in many daughters of his meritorious officials, claiming it was to maintain balance in the court. I asked sincerely, then, by marrying my sister Shen Nanshan, are you trying to show even more favor to my father? Xie Yun looked down at me. I looked at him too, with a clear conscience. After a long while, Xie Yun turned and left. He sent someone to break my legs, imprisoned me in the cold palace. The cold palace was truly cold, so Shen Nanshan set a fire, saying it was to help me warm up. I crawled toward the door. I didn't want to die in this cramped space. Shen Nanshan stood at the door, her wedding dress fluttering, her crimson lips parted slightly. The crown prince feared I might be assassinated, so he pushed you forward to become the crown princess. Now that the political situation has stabilized, sister, you may rest in peace. The rotten wood was devoured by the flames. It fell and hit me on the waist. In the end, I didn't manage to crawl out of that door either. I had to stretch my neck and look outside, but beyond the red wall, there was still a red wall. No, there was also a figure in bright yellow. Xie Yun stumbled forward. Jinhuan, I gave it my all. Pulled out my hand, flipped him the bird. That bastard ruined me. Heaven is unjust. A gust of wind swept by. I was pressed against the stone wall. Shen Jinhuan, what on earth do you want? Xie Yun held me tightly, letting out a suppressed growl. His chest heaved, and the corners of his eyes were red. I couldn't hold back. I slapped him. Your Highness, please restrain yourself. I am now your sister-in-law. The force was too strong. Xie Yun's head was turned aside by my strike. He pressed his tongue against the roof of his mouth and let out a low chuckle. Do you think I care? I took 2 steps back and spoke firmly. I don't think you dare. Xie Wei Chen is the emperor's most beloved prince. Unfortunately, he fell ill at the age of 7. He closed himself off and stopped communicating with others. If it weren't for this, the position of the crown prince would likely not have gone to Xie Yun. The moonlight was cold. Xie Yun looked up, a thin layer of frost glazing his eyes. Shen Jinhuan, do you also favor him? I nodded seriously. Yes, I love him. I love him. I love him. Did you hear that clearly? Xie Yun was stunned for a moment. Then he spoke arrogantly. Impossible, you're lying to me. He lowered his gaze in thought. Is it because 3 days ago, I saved Shen Nanshan? She's your sister, and she can't swim, so I had to save her. I sneered. I actually forgot about that. That day, I took an arrow wound while saving the emperor. Fell into the imperial lake. Shen Nanshan, startled by the assassin, also fell in. Xie Yun immediately jumped into the lake to rescue them. Blood drops diffused into threads, tracing crimson shadows. Xie Yun abandoned me. He swam towards Shen Nanshan. The two of them, soaked to the bone, emerged clinging to each other. Later, I was rescued by the palace attendants. I had a high fever for a day and a night, nearly losing my life. In my past life, Xie Yun stayed by my bedside, taking care of me with great devotion. He used the same words to coax me. How pathetic, and I actually believed him. It's a pity the timing of the rebirth was too late, otherwise, in the Imperial Lake, I would have killed both of them. Suppressing my disgust, I spoke coldly. Save whoever you want to save. What does it have to do with me? My fiancé has fainted. I need to go see him. Please step aside. Xie Yun's forced smile froze on his face. He closed in on me like a bloodthirsty beast. Jinhuan, be obedient. Go and tell the emperor to revoke his decree. We will be engaged and married. The fear of being controlled in my past life surged over me. I nervously stepped back. Until I hit the wall, I reached out and touched it. There was no way to retreat. I mustered my courage. What do you want? This is the Imperial Palace. Xie Yun's face darkened. He spoke in a low voice, suppressing his anger. You know it's the Imperial Palace. What are you touching? I turned around in a daze. Xie Weichen's cheeks flushed, his gaze conflicted, gaze lowered. My hand is resting on. Xie Yun gritted his teeth. Let go now. I steeled myself and snapped. Shut up. What's wrong with me touching my own husband? As I spoke, I gave him another pinch. Xie Weichen let out a muffled groan. His hand was pressed against his chest, half resisting, half yielding. Xie Yun sneered coldly. Fine, aren't you just trying to provoke me by using third brother? Shen Qinghuan, you've succeeded. Let's see how long you can hold out. Don't come back crying and begging me. He stormed off in a rage. I rolled my eyes. Crazy, should I go find him? Even a dog wouldn't believe that. A warmth spread over my wrist again. Xie Weichen held my wrist with his fingertips and gently moved it away. His Adam's apple bobbed as he forced out a few words. This is improper. Instantly, the heat source scattered. Xie Weichen stepped back. He pursed his lips and gestured. I don't understand, but the attitude must be right. I seriously guess. You want to get married next month. It's okay. I don't mind that you're sick. Oh, no betrothal gift. That's fine too. Xie Weichen's face flushed with urgency. Two hands swung out leaving after images. I simply closed my eyes. The banquet is almost over. I'll take my leave first. See you next time, my husband. Before leaving, I casually touched my abs, so hard. Almost thought it was a wall. After a long while, a sigh came from behind, seemingly helpless, seems joyful. The next day, I was awakened by Shen Nanshan. She smiled mischievously. Sister, Consort Ru has summoned you to the palace. I opened my eyes groggily. I moved my legs. Thankfully. As long as I can move, there is hope. I quickly got up and changed into plain-colored clothes. Consort Ru is Xie Weichen's adoptive mother. He treated Xie Weichen extremely well. I slandered Xie Weichen yesterday. I'm afraid I'll be held accountable afterward. I patted my cheeks and pulled open the door. Shen Nanshan's eyes crinkled with a hint of a smile. Sister, I heard you chose the third prince last night. But he's a fool. Without hesitation, I slapped her. Shen Nanshan fell to the ground. She covered her face, unable to believe it. You hit me. I came to see you out of kindness. And you're this heartless. I took a deep breath. She kicked a few more times. Gossiping about the prince, how many tongues do you have? A light chuckle came from the doorway. A fair-faced eunuch smiled warmly. Miss Shen, the gentle consort requests your presence. I entered the palace. I have lived 2 lifetimes. This was actually my first time meeting Consort Ru. She sat in a high position, amiable and kind. I was unwell yesterday and couldn't attend the banquet. Who would have thought that Chenna is about to have a wife? I was restless and uneasy. Just about to speak, the palace door was pushed open. Xie Weichen was panting, sweat beading on his forehead. A fair-faced eunuch followed anxiously. Your Highness the Third Prince, please slow down. You've been running for half an hour, don't let the heat get to you. Xie Weichen's gaze swept around. It landed on me, lingered for a few seconds, then moved away. He clutched the corner of his robe, his voice hoarse. Mother consort, make her leave. Consort Ru bestowed many gifts, many brightly colored brocades. Before leaving, she took my hand and urged, Mother consort can see that he cares for you. He's a man of few words. Please be patient with him. Indeed, he is. In his previous life, he quietly killed Xie Yun, and then roasted Shen Nanshan. Finally, take your own life before my grave. Just refuse to say a word of love to me. Just like this moment, in the carriage, Xie Weichen's back was stiff and straight. Not uttering a word, I squinted, sizing him up. In my previous life, I didn't have much of an impression of him. I only knew he was reclusive. The doctor said it was something called autism. It can't be cured, so whether to treat it or not doesn't matter. But this time, I want him to get better. I leaned closer. Xie Weichen, are you feeling hot? Are your ears red? It sounded as if something had shattered. Xie Wei Chen coughed twice, shielding himself with his long sleeve. If we don't marry, then call off the engagement. I was stunned for a long time. I don't know why, my eyes suddenly welled up. I sniffled and declared with unjustified confidence, I won't back out. If you want to back out, suit yourself. I slept with my head covered for 3 days. My head was dizzy and muddled. When I woke up, there was a clamor of gongs and drums outside. The maid, Tsuelio, scolded, she's just a concubine's daughter. The birthday banquet was such a grand affair. Even His Highness the Crown Prince attended. She combed my hair gently. Miss, shall we still go to the temple outside the city to offer incense? Father loved Shen Nanshin's mother very much. Love me, love my dog. He also doted on Shen Nanshin. So, that's why in the previous life, he chose to have me marry Xie Yun to test the waters. If Xie Yun succeeds, Shen Nanshin will marry over. If Xie Yun fails, I smiled, picking up a hairpin, draw it prettier. We'll watch a good show tonight. There are many people. Shen Nanshin sat in the main seat, listening to the compliments. Xie Yun stood to the side, watching her with a smile. They were truly a match made in heaven. In my past life, I couldn't see it at all. I stepped forward and sincerely congratulated her. May you have boundless joy on your birthday, sister. Shen Nanshin's cheeks were swollen. She glanced at me and sneered coldly. I dare not. How could I possibly accept such a grand gesture from my elder sister? I spoke with a guilty tone. That day, I was just acting in the heat of the moment. I was too abrupt with you, little sister. I paused, my expression conflicted. How about I give this hairpin to you as a gift? The gilded hairpin is adorned with pearls, dazzling and brilliant. It is a keepsake left to me by my mother. Shen Nanshin has been longing for it for a long time. In my previous life, after I was banished to the cold palace, she snatched it away. Shen Nanshin curled her lips. Then why not, sister? Drink up this pot of wine. On the table lay jade dew and fine wine. Most intoxicating. My smile remained unchanged. All right, as long as you're happy, little sister. I filled the cup with wine and raised it from afar. Just as it reached my lips, someone stopped me. Xie Yun frowned. This wine is strong. Let me drink it for you. I smiled with my eyes curved. All right. Shen Nanshin blurted out. Your Highness the Crown Prince. Your stomach is weak. How can you drink? Xie Yun glanced at her and spoke lightly. No need to worry. Then I drank the entire pot of wine. In the previous life, it was just like this. Shen Nanshin forced me to drink, hoping to see me make a fool of myself. Xie Yun shielded me. I was deeply moved and became even more devoted to him. Later, Shen Nanshin told me, it was all just an act, a play specifically set up for me. How could I let you down? I shed tears at the right moment. Ah Yun, you treat me so well. Tomorrow, I will go to His Majesty and request to break off the engagement. Xie Yun, slightly drunk, said, as long as you're not angry, I'm fine with anything. It's just that, this wine is a bit warm. Xie Yun tugged at his collar. His cheeks were flushed red. I glanced at Shen Nanshin. She shook her head, the golden hairpin tinkling softly, very smoothly. I curved my lips and coaxed gently. Yun, you're drunk. Let me help you to the side room to rest. All right. Xie Yun took a long moment to compose herself, then nodded. He reached out his hand to me. I held on to him, supporting him as he rose from the table, then turned around. Xie Wei Chen was carrying several boxes. He walked past me without stopping. I couldn't explain why. My heart ached with bitterness, suppressing my emotions. I helped Xie Yun to the east wing room. He collapsed onto the bed, his body burning with fever. Xie Yun, with dazed eyes, called out to me in a hoarse voice, Jinhuan. I untied my hair ribbon and whispered softly, I'll be right back. The hair ribbon fell. Cover his eyes. I turned and left the side room. Passing by the rockery, Tsuelio called out to me. She lowered her voice. Miss, it's all done. Shen Nanshin also got drunk and went to the east wing room. Fireworks exploded in the sky. The flames were dazzling. The banquet had not yet ended. I responded with a faint hum. Tsuelio hesitated before speaking. If the Prime Minister finds out, the wind felt somewhat sultry. I plucked a lotus leaf and gently fanned myself. They are deeply in love and can't help themselves. What does that have to do with me? I couldn't help but ask softly. Have you seen Xie Wei Chen? Tsuelio nodded and spoke hesitantly. Has the third prince also come to celebrate Shen Nanshin's birthday? There was no answer. My heart felt as if it were piled with burning stones. It was burning so much I could hardly breathe. I tossed the lotus leaf aside. Go to the east wing and keep an eye out. When the time comes, call for someone. Tsuelio acknowledged and turned to leave. I wandered aimlessly along the path. Perhaps the timing of my rebirth was too early. Xie Wei Chen hasn't fallen in love with me yet. Perhaps it was all just a coincidence. Xie Wei Chen never loved me, my mind is in turmoil. And I feel as if the wind blowing in is hot, it made me sweat profusely, soaking my undergarments, seeping through to my outer skirt. I felt like I couldn't breathe, so I had to crouch down. I scooped up some pond water and splashed it on my face. The heat had just subsided, but then someone grabbed my arm. Falling into a cold embrace, Xie Weichen's face flushed with urgency, 2 hands flailed about wildly. He thought I wanted to jump into the river. My vision swam with dizziness. Instinctively, I wrapped my arms around his waist, suddenly choked up. Xie Weichen, I feel so awful. The wind in my ears ceased, only the thumping heartbeat remained, vivid and intense. I couldn't help but lean in closer, consciousness gradually blurred, as if flames were burning from the depths, scorching hot. I unbuttoned his collar, roaming freely, seeking coolness. Xie Weichen's breathing grew heavier. He grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. No, don't. He finally spoke again, his lips parted and closed. I bit his lower lip and gave it a peck. Bitter, astringent. I complained. Xie Weichen, you're so bitter. Xie Weichen lowered his head. He gazed at me quietly for a long moment, then he reached out, gently wiping the tears from the corner of my eye. His voice was dry, as if worn by a whetstone, yet it carried tenderness, with a soothing tone. Don't cry, I'm here, I'm here. Reason finally collapsed. I wrapped my arms around his neck. Xie Weichen, I'm so hot, help me. Xie Weichen's body was stiff, very hard. His Adam's apple bobbed as he pushed me away with difficulty. You're drunk. But then he met my slightly teary eyes. Xie Weichen froze. The summer cicadas chirp. Ripples spread across the water's surface. Xie Weichen sighed and spoke with difficulty. We can only use our hands. The lotus leaves swayed gently. A dragonfly startled and flew away. A cry of surprise came from the east wing. Hurried footsteps sounded. I opened my eyes in a daze. Gradually becoming clear-headed, Xie Weichen supported me. His ear tips were tinged with pink, his lips moist and crimson. I adjusted my clothing, filled with regret. I'm sorry, I acted on impulse. Xie Weichen's eyes reddened from my teasing, extremely aggrieved. I whispered to comfort her, don't worry. I will go to plead with His Majesty tomorrow to call off the engagement. I didn't consider your feelings before. Please don't take it to heart. My legs went weak. And I gritted my teeth as I rushed toward the east wing. The night wind sweeps through, dispelling the last traces of haze. I look back to the beginning. Perhaps the aphrodisiac on the golden hairpin was too potent. Shen Nanshin and Xie Yun. My heart was pounding in my throat. I pushed through the crowd. Tsuelio covered her face, explaining helplessly. The young lady of the Duke of Dingguo was drunk and needed to rest. But who knew that when the door was pushed open? Shen Nanshin huddled in the corner of the bed. A beauty sheds tears. Xie Yun held his head, his lips pale. He looked up, his sharp gaze fixed on me. I chuckled softly. Whispers arose. A low-born daughter dares to climb into the crown prince's bed. The prime minister's ambitions run deep, marrying off daughters to princes. And even to the crown prince. Don't talk nonsense. Would the crown prince ever marry a low-born daughter? My chancellor father finally arrived late. The crowd dispersed. I was also driven out. A light rain fell in front of the corridor. Listening to the wind, the noisy prime minister's residence suddenly fell silent. Tsuelio held onto me and asked with concern, Miss, why are you crying? I desperately suppressed the corners of my mouth. I made it. Done. Xie Yun and Shen Nanshin are engaged. Tsuelio read the stolen gift list. Why are there so many heart-protecting mirrors, golden threaded garments, and the like? I sneered. Of course, in my previous life. I married Xie Yun. I've encountered over 30 assassination attempts. Countless wounds, big and small, are beyond reckoning. I cracked a melon seed. When is the wedding date? Tsuelio set down the gift list. 3 days from now, on the same day as you and the third prince. I spat out the melon seeds. Spinning in place. Why did the emperor suddenly set a date? What happened? I was just about to enter the palace to request the annulment of the engagement. Miss. The third prince's gift list has also arrived, Tsuelio said with a puzzled tone. Shall I read it to you? I bit my fingertip and shook my head, lost in thought. I felt a jade porcelain bottle being placed in my palm. Tsuelio explained. It was sent by the servants of the third prince. They said you have injuries that might swell. Where are the wounds? Miss, let me apply the medicine for you. My cheeks flushed with heat as I put down the medicine bottle. I'm going to the palace. I must make it clear, I was too self-righteous before. I thought Xie Weichen loved me. But the door was pulled open. The prime minister father stood at the door, with a stern expression. He waved his hand. Tie him up, kneel in the ancestral hall. The bricks in the ancestral hall were so hard, Shen Nanshan sobbed, "Father, it must be her doing. You made me lose face." The Prime Minister father gently comforted, "Don't be afraid, Shinna, after all, you are the crown princess now." Shen Nanshan raised her head arrogantly, "Shen Jinhuan, you will never surpass me." After saying that, they turned and left. Green Willow knelt with me, her eyes red. She asked, "Why, you are his daughter too, in my previous life." When I was confined in the cold palace, I also asked this question, many times. I sent countless letters to my father through messengers, no answer. So, I gently pinched Suelio's nose. Under the light clouds and gentle breeze, the human heart is naturally biased. He doesn't love me, that's all there is to it. Suelio cried even louder. I sat on the ground, sharing the offerings with her. All right, eat first, then cry." Suelio choked up, taking it in a daze. She took a bite of the steamed bun and mumbled, "Miss, why have you suddenly taken a liking to the third prince?" I stare at the square room, no windows, no escape. I smack my lips. Maybe, I just wanted a better life, just a little better, even if it's despicable, even if it's shameless. But I also feel a bit of regret. I shouldn't have dragged Xie Wei Chen into this. I got up and pounded on the door desperately. I dug up the floor tiles, searching for a secret passage. I was completely exhausted. Unfortunately, there was none. 3 days later, the door opened, a servant threw in the wedding dress. "The auspicious hour has arrived." Heaven gave me no chance to regret. 8 bearers carry a grand sedan chair, gongs and drums resound to the skies. I entered Xie Weichen's mansion. Carved railings and red windows gleam through the hazy moonlight. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding the brocade box tightly. This was the dowry my mother left for me. Shen Nan wanted to snatch it away. I snatched it back. The door creaked, a faint scent of pear blossoms mixed with the aroma of wine drifted in. I sat up straight, my heart pounded fiercely. The red bridal veil was lifted, the candlelight flickered, illuminating Xie Weichen's profile. He pressed his thin lips together, staring at me for a long time. My cheeks flushed. And I spoke up first, "I'm sorry, I didn't have time to call off the engagement." Xie Weichen's eyes darkened as he gestured. "You are unhappy." He pointed at my brocade box. He asked, "Is it heavy?" The air felt inexplicably hot. I smiled and said, "Not heavy." Xie Weichen sat down, staring at me without blinking. I had no choice but to complain. "The phoenix crown is so heavy." Xie Weichen nodded. "The bridal sedan is so bumpy." Xie Weichen nodded. "The shoes don't fit. They're rubbing and hurting." The candle flame flickered. It illuminated Xie Weichen's gentle face. He nodded. Raindrops pounded on the roof. Crackle and pop. My Adam's apple bobbed. "Why did the damned Prime Minister slap my face? It hurts." Cried all night on the wedding night. Slept until noon. Eyes were swollen. A bit embarrassing. Kui Liu was combing my hair, beaming with excitement. Cousin Shen Nanshan was caught seizing the farmland. "Your father, the Prime Minister, has been fined half a year's salary." The Crown Prince was also severely reprimanded. I perked up. "I'll have 3 bowls of rice for dinner tonight." I made an extra portion for Xie Wei Chen. I brought it to the study. Xie Wei Chen was painting. Seeing me, he quickly put it away. He still didn't like to speak, his eyes evasive. I set down the porridge and dishes, speaking sincerely, "Thank you." Xie Wei Chen was taken aback, gently shaking my head. I smiled and turned to leave, but my wrist was grabbed. Xie Wei Chen, through the sleeve, handed me the ointment. Then, he touched his own face, simple and easy to understand. A warmth burned in his chest. I must repay him in some way. Then, I went to the clinic to see a doctor for a private ailment. I specifically chose the night. I didn't even bring Suelio. Few people. The doctor casually listed, epimedium, cystanche, eat more liver regularly, bring your husband back for a follow-up in a month. Holding the medicine package, I thanked him gently. Turning around, I bumped into a solid wall of a person. Xie Yun looked displeased. "Is Xie Wei Chen not good enough?" I frowned and stepped around him. But Xie Yun was relentless. Stubbornly following me. "Jinhuan, do you admit your mistake?" A surge of inexplicable anger welled up in my chest. I stopped in my tracks. "What did I do wrong?" Xie Yun softened his tone. "I don't dislike you. Divorce Xie Wei Chen. Try me. It's been rainy and overcast lately. Occasionally, there's lightning." I said seriously, "Has your brain been struck by lightning? Don't worry about Wei Chen's body. As for you, coming here." I glanced at him and retorted indifferently. "Did you get lost on your stroll?" Xie Yun, with a stern face and anger in his voice, said, "Jinhuan, anyway, it's not. If you insist on following Xie Wei Chen, then go ahead. Let's see how long you can keep up that stubborn talk." he gritted his teeth, flicked his sleeve, and left. I stared at his receding figure. In his previous life, Xie Yun also frequented this shop, buying beauties, buying medicine, to gift to his followers. He said the effect was good. I hope so. I took the medicine and went out. Suelio held an umbrella, smiling awkwardly. Miss, guess who came with me? I felt a vague unease. Suelio spoke softly. It's raining. The third prince is concerned about you. I got into the carriage. Where is he? Suelio smiled, but it looked more like a grimace. He ran into the crown prince. The crown prince asked, Your Highness, since you are unwell, why not see the imperial physician? I brewed the medicine, and brought it into the study. The candlelight was bright, reflecting Xie Weichen's tense face. I hesitated for a moment, then put down the sugar cube. It's useful. The evening breeze blew through the window, rustling the pages of the book, smoothing out a piece of paper. The ink is half dried. The strength penetrates the paper, Xie Weichen wrote. I know you have two intentions, and I sincerely hope you follow your heart. Don't worry, I will bear the consequences. Beside, lay the divorce agreement. My eyes dimmed, after all. It was a mistake. Xie Weichen never loved me. I set down the bamboo scroll and spoke softly. This is the list of court officials Xie Yun has been privately contacting, along with evidence of him raising a private army and trading official positions. You might need this. In my previous life, Xie Yun never hid his actions from me. I wrote down a part of it from memory. As I turned to leave, someone grabbed my wrist. Xie Weichen's earlobes flushed red as he stammered. You don't like Xie Yun? I shook my head and spoke earnestly. I don't like him, I suddenly realized, unsure, and asked, Do you think I like you? So you want to separate? The candle flame flickered. Xie Weichen's eyes lit up. He rose anxiously, protesting. No divorce. Xie Weichen paused, then picked up the medicine bowl and drank it all in one go, but he frowned at the bitterness. I handed him a sugar cube. Xie Weichen blushed, his voice very low. I am quite useful. Please don't look down on me. The temperature gradually grew scorching. It was like that rainy night by the pond, rising and falling, searching and seeking, until the moon hangs on the willow branches. The shaking stops, I'm sure. Xie Weichen is not broken. His eyes were filled with mist, like a clear stream. He lowered his head and kissed my fingertips, one by one. I remembered that rainy night by the pond. I asked in confusion, So, why did you use your hand back then? Even on our wedding night, we slept in separate beds, I thought. Xie Weichen paused, feeling a bit sullen. I thought, you might be unwilling. I found it somewhat amusing, holding his face. Why don't you ask me? A flush of red crept to the corner of Xie Weichen's eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed, his voice hoarse, afraid of the answer. This time, it was my turn to feel a tightness in my chest. I lowered my head and sealed his lips. Xie Weichen arranged for someone to submit the evidence. The emperor was furious. Xie Yun was placed under house arrest. For a time, the court was in turmoil. Consort Ru summoned me once again. She took my hand and spoke in a low, earnest tone. Jinhuan. I see that Weichen's condition is improving. You must put in more effort. I agreed. When I left, it was the eunuch with the powdered face who saw me off. He smiled and praised me, calling me a willow at Zhongtai, a lotus on distant mountains. When we reached the palace gate, he sighed and said, One mountain cannot shelter two tigers. How can one tolerate others snoring beside their own bed? I understood. In his previous life, Xie Yun understood this better, therefore. After ascending the throne, he killed all his brothers, leaving only Xie Weichen, who had autism, and exiled him to the southern border. My thoughts drifted far away. I have never been to the southern border. I only heard Xie Yun mention it. Southern Xinjiang is far, cold, and lacking in resources. There are not many horses either. No trouble can arise. Yet, it was Xie Weichen who changed his appearance. Alone, I threw the world into chaos, then ended it all by my own hand. But in this life, Xie Weichen's illness has improved, and he has begun to shine in the imperial court. How could he distance himself from the court and live in ignoble ease? A thunderclap echoed outside the window. I shrank back, an arm wrapped around my shoulder. Xie Weichen's eyes were filled with concern. He held my palm, tracing each stroke. What's wrong? I took the opportunity to straddle his waist. Xie Weichen, can you make some noise? It's too quiet. I'm scared. Xie Weichen's back stiffened. His cheeks were flushed as if burned. Trembling, he began to undo my inner garment. I slapped his hand away. Not this. Whatever, this will do. I've consulted many doctors, bought a lot of medicine. Xie Weichen was very obedient and drank it all, but spring passed and autumn came. His condition did not improve. If anything, He just talked more in bed, not enough. I sat in the courtyard, as usual, waiting for Xie Wei Chen to return from court. Peach blossoms fell one after another. There must be a way to cure Xie Wei Chen. Suelio hurried over and spoke anxiously. Madam, the third prince has been imprisoned. Fate always loves to play tricks. I went to the imperial prison. Xie Wei Chen was sitting on the straw, his lips were pale, and his back was stained with blood. I leaned against the railing and asked, Xie Wei Chen, are you coming home tonight? Xie Wei Chen let out a low chuckle. He opened his eyes and gestured again. I closed my eyes and mumbled, all right. Don't worry, I won't remarry. Waiting for you to come home. A long time passed. A sigh was heard. Xie Wei Chen's voice was very soft. Jinhuan. I quickly turned and left. Xie Wei Chen often thinks about divorce. I must go to the palace to file a complaint. The carriage sped along. It stopped on the palace road. I got out of the carriage and went to find Consort Ru. Her palace gate was tightly shut, and the sound of an argument came from inside. Consort Ru sobbed. Does your majesty still wish to drive Wei Chen to her death? A sharp slap rang out. It was very loud. The emperor was enraged, fuming. Don't mention that disgrace to me. I merely intended to move Qing'e into the imperial mausoleum. He dared to defy me, saying I was unworthy. That tongue of his ought to be silenced forever. I vaguely remember, Xie Wei Chen's birth mother was named Jiyu Nianqing. Rumor has it that she shared a deep affection with the emperor. The eunuch with a powdered face sighed and advised me, His Majesty is furious. Please wait a few days. I asked softly, in a few days, will she be released? The fair-faced eunuch hesitated and nodded, but I waited for 3 months, until Consort Ru was demoted to a low-ranking concubine. Wait until the servants of the prince's mansion have all dispersed. Wait until Xie Yun comes to the door to show off his power. His eyes held a smile. Jinhuan, come with me. Goose feather snowflakes fell thick and fast. I rubbed my hands together and asked in confusion, Suelio, where is that dog barking coming from? Xie Yun grabbed my shoulder and gritted his teeth. Do you think Xie Wei Chen will survive this winter? A cold gust of wind hit my face. I replied without changing my expression, as long as he outlives you, that's enough. Xie Yun waved his hand. Shen Jinhuan, there's a limit to being willful. I won't wait for you for long. The imperial prison is very cold. I brought the bedding. Xie Wei Chen silently took it. He made the bed and sat down. He wanted to pull my hand to write again. I guessed it would be something I didn't want to hear. I'm pregnant, I said, taking the lead. It's been 3 months. The torchlight in the imperial prison was dim. I couldn't make out Xie Wei Chen's expression. I said calmly, you decide. I didn't get a response. I had to go home first. 3 days later, Xie Wei Chen wrote a letter to the emperor. Another 3 days, Jiyu Nianqing moved the tomb. Another 3 days, Consort Ru was reinstated. I wait at the gate of the imperial prison. My palms are damp with sweat. Suelio comforts me. Madam, His Majesty has granted a pardon. Everything will be fine. The early winter sky was chilly. Snowflakes drifted down slowly. Suelio exclaimed, Madam, I'll go buy an umbrella. I acknowledged her, still staring at the door. A cold wind blew past. I tightened my cloak. An umbrella opened above my head. I thought it was Suelio returning. Looking up, I met a pair of dull, grey eyes. Xie Yun averted his gaze, his thin lips parting slightly. He's so fortunate, such a heavy crime. Father confined me for half a year. He's only 3 months old, yet so easily taken from me. The sun sets in the evening. I don't understand. He had already obtained Shen Nanshan. His wish was fulfilled, yet greed arose once more. I spoke calmly. He is not guilty. Xie Yun handed me an umbrella. His eyes were like a piece of ice, frozen for years. I have one. It will get heavier. Amid the swirling snow and wind, Xie Yun turned and walked away. The door to the imperial prison opened. I rushed forward. Xie Wei Chen carefully held me, his voice hoarse. Be careful. His hair was a bit disheveled, eyes are a bit red. I then held his hand. Okay, let's go home. Snow covered the ground, sparkling. Xie Wei Chen scooped me up in his arms. Your shoes and socks will get wet. I waved it off carelessly. It's fine. But Xie Wei Chen shook his head. I remember, you don't like it. I froze for a moment. It felt like being back on the wedding night again. My clumsy lie. Someone actually believed it. The wind and snow were fierce. Xie Wei Chen's steps were steady. Holding me, he walked forward step by step. Xie Wei Chen was in theft as the Prince of Huai. The mansion became lively again, welcoming and seeing off. Gifts are displayed. Green willows praise Xie Wei Chen for turning misfortune into blessing. No more stuttering, no longer afraid of people. I dared to speak up. All the ailments are cured. I drank the nourishing herbal medicine, yet my heart felt bitter. This year has seen abundant rainfall. I couldn't sleep peacefully. Xie Wei Chen stayed by my side, patting my back to soothe me. I turned over and looked up at him. Xie Wei Chen, he hummed in response and tucked the blanket around me again. I took a few deep breaths. I'm not pregnant. The air was humid. Xie Wei Chen didn't stop what he was doing. I know. Raindrops fell on the eaves, like a gentle melody. Xie Wei Chen held me tightly, his breathing soft, very light. I couldn't help but ask, how did you know? Why? 2 questions. Xie Wei Chen answered the second one first. He ruffled my hair. You didn't sleep well that day. You looked terrible. I want to take care of you. To take care of you while I'm alive. Tears uncontrollably welled up in the corners of my eyes. I hugged him back, but I waited for a long time, until drowsiness crept in. Xie Wei Chen spoke softly, answering the first question. My mother didn't love him. She was always trying to kill herself, hurting herself. Gradually, I learned some medical skills to take care of my mother. The warmth faded. His palm was cold. Xie Wei Chen suddenly smiled. Does my voice sound unpleasant? I shook my head and pecked his lips. No, I love hearing it. It had been quiet for a long time, so long that I thought he had fallen asleep. But suddenly, a chill crept up the back of my neck. Xie Wei Chen was trembling. She burrowed into my embrace. But I never expected that mother would hate me too. That year when I was 7, she forced me to swallow a lot of charcoal, red-hot charcoal. The rain has stopped. Yet I feel a chill all over my body. The cold seeps out from between my bones. Xie Wei Chen lies in my arms, as if puzzled. I should hate my mother. But then I think, she just wanted a little freedom. There's nothing wrong with that. That's right. I didn't know how to comfort her. I had no choice but to kiss away Xie Wei Chen's tears, bitter and sour. Before the Lantern Festival, Shen Nanshan is pregnant. Xie Yun requested the emperor to hold a palace banquet to pray for blessings and celebrate joy. Xie Wei Chen helped me into the splendid attire, softly reminding me, be careful tonight. I nodded. Since Xie Wei Chen recovered from his illness, he has taken on many governmental affairs. The emperor praised him endlessly. Xie Yun was repeatedly reprimanded. There were rumors in the court that the crown prince might be replaced. For a time, everyone felt insecure. Shen Nanshan was pregnant at this time. I'm afraid Xie Yun wants to win back the emperor's favor to consolidate her own position, of course. There is also love. Shen Nanshan looks radiant and is all smiles. She must be doing very well. The music of strings and flutes swelled gracefully as the Hu dancer made her entrance. Xie Wei Chen peeled shrimp for me. Her eyes and brows were tinged with a smile. Xie Yun suddenly spoke up. My sister-in-law seems quite happy now. I ignored him. Xie Yun sneered, holding his wine glass. Third brother has recovered from his illness. The emperor spoke first, displeased. What, are you dissatisfied? The Hu dancer stopped. Shen Nanshan tugged at Xie Yun, anxiously defending. Father, Yun didn't mean it that way, he was just concerned. Xie Yun shook off her hand and stood up directly. Yes, I am dissatisfied. How could he be fine? What makes him so good? Bang! The emperor threw his wine glass. Get out. Xie Yun did not dodge, blood trickling from his temple. It dripped quietly onto the floor. Xie Yun stepped forward and questioned. Father, Xie Wei Chen has recovered from his illness. Will you no longer have me as your child? The emperor's chest heaved violently. Scoundrel, to whom are you speaking? Swords are drawn and bows are strung. I gripped Xie Wei Chen's hand and asked in a low voice, have they all been captured? Xie Wei Chen nodded and returned the handshake. The hall of prayer for good harvest's charcoal fire burns brightly, yet it alone could not warm Xie Yun. He turned his head and looked at me from afar. Jinhuan, I'm starting to regret it a little. Wait until Xie Wei Chen dies. Marry me and be my queen. The upheaval happened in an instant. Xie Yun dropped the wine glass, and shards of colored glaze scattered all over the floor. The servant tore open the garment, draw the soft sword from under the desk. The sound of fighting came from the doorway, close at hand. Shen Nanshan shrank back in fear, her face streaked with tears. The emperor clutched his chest. You unfilial son, are you plotting treason? You are already the crown prince. Xie Yun touched the jade thumb ring, holding his breath and concentrating, until the main gate was kicked open. The deputy general of the border region, Lin Pingnan, shouted loudly, Your Highness the Crown Prince, the great matter is accomplished. In his previous life, Lin Pingnan was Xie Yun's right-hand man. Fortunately, it was the same in this life as well. Lin Pingnan was followed by many familiar faces. They were well trained and knelt down in unison, just as before. Xie Yun then turned his gaze to the emperor, as if chatting about everyday matters, calm and composed. Father, I was so afraid. I fear that one day, you might confine me for another 6 months. I fear that one day, you might appoint Xie Wei Chen as your successor. He lifted his robe and knelt down. I request your majesty to abdicate. A long time passed. A weary sigh echoed through the vast palace. The elderly emperor opened his cloudy eyes. Wei Chen, bring the person in. Xie Wei Chen bowed in acknowledgement. Xie Yun looked up in confusion. The side door of the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests opened. A group of young women and children emerged. Exclamations of surprise rose one after another. Mother, daughter, aunt, madam. Lin Pingnan widened his eyes. Chua, what are you doing here? Lin Chua wiped her tears. Father, just 3 days after you left, I was captured. The sound of clashing weapons echoed once more at the palace gate. It was the Imperial Guards. Xie Weichen's expression was grave. Those who surrender will be spared. There was no fierce battle. Only Xie Yun fought desperately to the end. Shen Nanshan took a knife for him. Stained with blood, his vitality faded away. Xie Yun leaned on his sword, kneeling on the ground. Why, when was it discovered? His hair was disheveled, his clothes in disarray. Only his tone remained calm and restrained. The emperor felt no relief at having survived a disaster. I saw him hang his head for the first time. The crown's jade beads jingled softly. It also obscured his vision. His voice was slow and heavy. You've held a grudge all this time. I punished you for half a year. Xie Yun sneered, licking the blood from the corner of his mouth. What about embezzlement and selling official positions? You've imprisoned me for half a year and frequently reprimanded me. Is the crime really that severe? Consort Ru helped the emperor to his feet. He staggered, his back slightly bent. He gave a bitter smile. Among the evidence, there's your intelligence line. Xie Yun's face turned pale. The sword slipped and fell to the ground. Every time I reprimand you, I hope you will turn back from your wrong path. What a pity. The trailing words were drowned out by the fading footsteps. Xie Yun's eyes were bloodshot as he stubbornly roared. You knew all along. So why didn't you tell me earlier? You know about every move I make. You just stand by and watch me do all this for nothing. Why? The figure in bright yellow paused for a moment, then disappeared behind the beaded curtain. Xie Yun is just like me. No answer was given. The second year of Jingping. I have finally arrived in the southern frontier. It is not desolate here. There are grasslands, and there are eagles. The seventh prince, Xie Zheng, ascended to the throne. He was refined, humble, and diligent in governing the country. He was a competent emperor. Xie Wei Chen became the provincial governor's attendant, idle, powerless. The sun hung high in the sky. Xie Wei Chen handed me water and said in a low voice, "Be careful now that you're pregnant, next time you ride. Remember to go with me." I wanted to cover my ears. Xie Wei Chen has been talking a lot lately, a whole lot. But that won't do. I had no choice but to agree. All right, Xie Wei Chen said softly. Xie Yun is dead. I took a bite of the wild fruit. Oh, clouds gathered and scattered in the sky. Xie Wei Chen paused. He wrote you a letter. Want to read it? Shall I read it to you? The grass was warm and toasty. Drowsiness washed over me. I closed my eyes and lazily replied, sure. A smile touched Xie Wei Chen's eyes. He unfolded the letter and read it line by line. But I waited for a long time. Waited until the ox had eaten its fill of grass. The sheep have returned to the fold. Xie Wei Chen still didn't make a sound. A gentle breeze brushed against my cheek. It tickled. I couldn't help but ask, what did it say? Xie Wei Chen's eyes flickered slightly. He put away the letter and said calmly, Xie Yun says, sorry, I let out an O. My mouth is watering. Pointing at the little fat lamb, Xie Wei Chen, shall we have a whole roasted lamb for dinner? He nodded, his hand trembling slightly. Okay. Xie Wei Chen's side story. Jinhuan ate a lot. Her belly was round and full. I reached out to touch it, but my hand was swatted away. She turned over and muttered unhappily. Don't laugh. I held her, my voice hoarse as I agreed. Actually, I felt like crying a little. That idiot Xie Yun, what kind of lousy letter did he write? He said he was sorry for breaking Jinhuan's leg in the previous life. He also said he didn't really mean to lock Jinhuan away in the cold palace. He added that he had punished Shen Nanshan in the end. He begged for Jinhuan's forgiveness. Next life, we'll still be together. He is dreaming. But I'm still very afraid. I wrote a letter overnight, advising the new emperor, burn Xie Yun, scatter his ashes to the wind, better yet, invite a Taoist priest to suppress his spirit. But at night, I woke up startled. Drenched in sweat, I had a dream. I dreamt of being in the Golden Throne Hall. Jinhuan didn't choose me. She joyfully married Xie Yun. Then, as Xie Yun had said, she withered and died in the palace. Jinhuan drowsily snuggled into my arms. What's wrong? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Her hand was soft and warm. Covering the back of my hand, I gripped it tightly. Jinhuan, stay with me forever. Don't leave me, okay? She blinked and sat up straight. Xie Chen, did you eat my shaved ice? Indulging in the coolness for sheer joy. Ice is produced in the southern borderlands, and she always secretly eats it behind my back. I frowned. Did you buy shaved ice again? Jinhuan was speechless for a moment. She spoke weakly. Did you have any? I sighed, leaning closer to her. No, stop sneaking snacks. I'll ask the physician to see if there's a prescription. Jinhuan's eyes lit up, her face full of anticipation. What prescription? I said helplessly. A prescription that allows you to eat ice even while pregnant. Smack. Jinhuan gave me a kiss. She sat in my arms, snuggling up to me affectionately. Xie Chen, how are you so good? I held her, making sure this moment was real. She poked my cheek and asked curiously, why do you like me? It all began when I was 7 years old. My voice was just gone. The imperial physician said I won't recover. I didn't believe it. Hiding by the imperial lake, I whispered secretly. Only broken syllables could be uttered. Xieyun led the mockery. Sounds awful, so disgusting. I lowered my head and shut my mouth tightly. Then, Xieyun was hit. He covered his head. Shen Jinhuan, what are you doing? Jinhuan put her hands on her hips. Where did that dog's barking come from? Xieyun's face flushed red. So fierce. I wonder who would ever marry you. The lakeside of the imperial lake quieted down. Jinhuan handed me a crow. Her face was full of conflict and heartache. Its name is Jiji, and it will obediently listen to you, a graceful and dignified figure called out softly. Jinhuan, it's time to leave the palace. Jinhuan ran off with a patter. I'm coming, mother. Halfway there, I'll come to see it. I nodded instinctively. So, every day I only chirp with Jiji. Because I can't speak, then I stare at the heavy rosewood door, hoping it will open again. 3 years passed, and then another 3. No, later, Jiji also died of old age, only I remained. I just kept on living, waiting for Jinhuan to ask for an explanation. The memory is too distant. I thought for a long time but didn't answer. Jinhuan poked me again. Xie Chen, why are you ignoring me? My Jinhuan doesn't remember. It's okay. I desperately closed the distance and whispered, Jinhuan, do you want to keep a crow?